Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another review, and today it's going to be another Reborn 100 review. These don't happen that often, and this one is a little bit on the late side. This right here can only be described as the revolution of Reborn 100s, the rebirth of 100s if you will, and this of course is the Zaku II FZ as it says here, or that you'd more than likely know it as the Zaku II Kai. That had something to do with hamburgers or something like that, I don't know. Repressed memory, repressed memory. But of course, this is a few months old. It is from back in August or something like that, if I do not remember, which I don't. But anyway, this video right here would not be possible without those absolutely awesome people over at Hobbylink Japan. So if you do want one of your own, there is a link down there in the description. Anyway, as always, on to the review. So moving on right into the aesthetics of this kit, and I have to say I am very impressed with this. Compared to other Reborn 100s, this looks really nice. There's only one I've liked so far as much as this, and that of course was the Gerbera. But this kit right here does something that that kit, or any other Reborn 100 I should mention, has never done, and that is this thing has none of those lousy, crappy, rubbish polycaps that all those kits have. That makes me very happy. And the other complaints I have about the Reborn 100 line, I'm just gonna leave in somewhere else, another video. I honestly don't think they count so much anymore. This right here, anyway, is just an out-of-box build, so this is exactly what it will look like just snapped together. It does have a little bit of panel lining here and there, not too much because there isn't too much detail on this. So all in all, this is what you'll be expecting to get out of the box, and I have to say the colors do look fantastic. The silhouette, everything looks fantastic. As for the stickers, however, I've only used the one that's this right here. That is the one in there on the eye. I did put that underneath the clear piece in there, not on top of it, so it looked a little more recessed, but that does mean at the same time it's kind of not as apparent as it could be. There is the rest of the decals. These are just sticker style decals. They may not appear so great on the camera there. It looks a little hard to see against the white background there. But for the most part, standard looking decals in white, but we do have a couple of Xeon symbols right there. The detailing on this is phenomenal, especially all the red section used inside all of the verniers. This looks so nice. A lot of the time, 100 kits feel like nothing better than just big old high grades, but this does bring them to a new level entirely, which I'm happy about. Of course, this kit does not feel as heavy, as premium, or as expensive as a master grade would, but at the same time, it's very simple in its build, which means it is a lot of fun to play around with, and there is no denying that awesome level of detail, once again, especially in the verniers. Of course, because this isn't a master grade or anything like that, it does lack some premium features like undergating, and the plastic is a little bit on the cheap side. It does look a little bit on the shiny side a lot of the time. The gray on the inside doesn't. It's probably the best plastic on this thing, but there is a lot of mold lines, etc. Those sort of features you do see a lot more on a lower end product by Bandai. The absolute worst of which is this jelly crap they used for the wires. I hate this. I've seen this before on older kits, maybe older no-grade kits or whatever, but this stuff is horrible. It feels absolutely revolting. It looks pretty bad. Has massive mold lines that's going to be a nightmare to remove because these are rubber, and that thing is going to attract dirt like nobody's business. This thing, I do hate, but it's the only thing about this I do hate, so that's a first for a Reborn 100. Anyway, there is the full 360-degree spin of this kit, and what can I say, detail-wise, it is very nice. Color-wise, it is fantastic. This color looks great. And on the whole, I am entirely impressed by this. This is, to date, my favorite Reborn 100. If they keep going this way, I will like the line a lot, but again, I do find the price and the fact that they're not making the big kits they promised they would a little bit on the disappointing side. On the whole though, there's no denying this thing is absolutely beautiful, and Bernie would have been proud. As for a bit of a comparison, there it is beside the Master Grade Original Zaku, or should I say Original Zaku 2. This of course is the Master Grade 2.0, and when you put them side by side, you can really see that this has better colors. In general, a lot of the silhouette is a lot nicer, and I can say it's definitely a lot more fun to play around with as well, but this of course is more detailed, heavier, more premium feeling, and seriously, you can't beat the classic. Next up, there it is side by side with the Granddaddy Gundam. That is the Granddaddy RX-78 2 Gorilla Hands version 3.0. And next up, there it is side by side with the Shatterer of Dreams and Breaker of Hearts. So yeah, we don't want you around here anymore. Anyway, on to the accessories. So that right there is the Reborn 100 Zaku II Kai with absolutely everything that it comes with. And this comes with a decent loadout and some nice little extras. So what we've got in here is the best looking Heat Hawk I've ever seen. We've got the 90mm machine gun, as well as the optional grenade launcher, and an extra ammo magazine. The last of the weapons then are these hand grenades. We've got two variants, that's the shorter ones here, and the longer one here. That's it primed, ready to go. And besides that, we've got two alternate tops of heads. That means we've got three, including that one up there. We have these two alternate hands, one for holding the gun, one widespread dynamic, and honestly, man, it would have killed you to put the backs of the hands for these two. And then we've got a base adapter, and this thing, which is for holding that thing. So as for the hands, we've got this standard blocky holding hands that we've got on here, which can double for not so great looking fists. And as for the optional hands, we have a right hand with the extended index finger, which is either for holding the machine gun or scratching his bum, and I assume it's the former. And this left hand here, which is a widespread dynamic one, or it's for holding onto the front section of the machine gun. Once again, I will mention if you have to use any of the alternate hands, you do have to switch the backs of the hands that you were using, because they did not include on the runners a second set of hand backs. So you have to do that, which is a bit of a pain. And speaking of alternate stuff, we've got some cool alternate stuff in here, which is alternate tops of the head. So we've got the standard type, we've got the commander type, which you see all the time with Zaku's, and then we've got this right here, which is referred to as the Fritz helm. And this is awesome. And it kind of kills me because I want to use this head right here because that's the one that Bernie used, of course, but I want to use this one too because it's so cool. But anyway, let's try them all on. So anyway, there is the standard head. There is that typical looking commander style helm with that extended spiky antenna on top, looking awesome. And finally, there is the Fritz helm, which I will admit I adore. It immediately gives the whole unit a completely different feel. I would love to see more alternate head parts in more kits in future. That is something that I very, very much like. However, what I would not like to see more of in kits is the way that this is done. If you want to swap the type of head that you're using, you need to pop off the top of the head, which is hard enough, but not too bad. But getting this little clear section out from in here is next to impossible. This feels so easy to break. It's brittle like clear pieces tend to be, and this is something I didn't like to do multiple times for this review, so we're sticking with the Fritz helm. Moving on to the weapons now, and first up is the Heat Hawk, and look at that fantastic, glorious specimen. Oh, ignore that there. That really has cheapened it. But the top end looks good, really good. It's color separated into gray, dark gray, and green, and that is pretty awesome. This is held in the standard holding hand, and the way this attaches is quite interesting. We've got a bit of a tabby bit up here and here that these slot into. That's pretty cool. That means this is not going anywhere once attached. And speaking of attached, that's what the Reborn 100 Zaku II Kai looks like with the Heat Hawk attached into the hand. I did not put the back onto it because I couldn't be bothered. And when this is not in use, you can pop off this holdable handle here, replace it with this shorter variant that pops in there. This is what it looks like when it's not in use. And then using this little adapter segment here, you stick that into the hole in the butt, just like that right there. And that is where you can store that fine looking Heat Hawk. The next of the weapons in here are these little grenades. These are all on this little rack segment that can attach right here on the side skirting armor that just slots into those two tabs like so. These can all be removed just like that right there. And we also have a variant of these right here with this little handle here. This is exactly the same top, just on a different handle. And this can be attached in here just like we saw with the Heat Hawk for some throwing poses. That is nice. Continuing on with the weapons, next up we've got the machine gun. This is very nicely detailed. Of course, this is all in the one color as you'd expect with a Reborn 100. And there isn't any moving parts on here. Oh wait, I'm a liar. There is one back here. This little stock segment can flip up like so, or all the way up like this, but besides that, nothing else moves. You can pull out the magazine just like this for using with that spare magazine that we saw earlier on, but there is a bit of a down point with the cool removable magazine, and that's that it's totally hollow on the other side. That kind of sucks. We also have one optional part for this, that is this grenade launcher here, and I will mention, once you put this on, it's pretty much impossible to get it off without it stealing that little segment which was on there, and good luck fishing that out of in there, like I had to do not so long ago. But anyway, that looks cool on, so leave it like that. So there's an example of what it looks like attached into the hand. That's it, holding it one-handedly, but you also have the option of flipping this hand round, bringing this round to that arm, and posing it a little something like that right there. When not in use, that spare magazine we took a look at earlier on, that can be stored in this side skirting, which pops open like so, can be put up inside of it like that, closed up, and now we've got some backup. So the last accessory we have in here is this, which is the base adapter. We don't get a 1/100 scale pilot of Bernie, because of course this is not a master grade, and for some reason it came with the Alex. Master grade Alex, that is. So this just pops on here like that. Feels snug so far. Get yourself an action base, throw him into it like so, and yeah, that seems like a pretty awesome adapter. He's not going anywhere. So now moving on to the build and the articulation on this guy, and I have to mention that the build has blown me away. Compared to all the older Reborn 100 kits we would have seen before in the past, this is fantastic. It has kicked all those crappy old polycaps that every single Reborn 100 has used since the Nightingale, and now what we have is a 100% no polycap build. So that means it's strong, tight, and will always hold the pose that you put it in. So now checking out the articulation, moving from the head down, this has one decent groovy giggity goo because it's got a double jointed neck. That is a ball joint up top for your regular neck goings on, and this nice little moving section in under that. So this is nice, off to a good start. Full spin and everything up there. There's it all the way up, there's it all the way down, and we've got that little side to side pivot too. I almost totally forgot you can move the mono eye in there, side like this to side like so with these little bits underneath. At the shoulders here, the predominant movement is towards the front, and this is impressive once again. First off, we've got a moving segment up here. This is a nice little bit of extra. On top of that, we've got this joint which allows the arms to move forward and back at that point. So that means it can bring the arm right across its chest perfectly. And yes, the Zaku II Kai can fold its arms. Makes me so happy. Back to the shoulder, and we've got that full 360 spin. This shoulder armor right here, as well as this shoulder armor here, they do look different, but the mechanism inside of them is exactly the same. So we've got articulation up top, some more down bottom here. This does pop out on me quite a bit, so I'll take that opportunity to show you what's going on in here. So we've got rotation up top right here. We've got a hinge right here. Down here is a second hinge, which ends on a ball joint. So that does mean the armor on both of these can be pulled out of the way in that typical Zaku fashion. That does mean, when it's not falling off, that is, whoa. But yeah, that does mean the shield can actually be used, well, like a shield. Next up, we've got the full rotation at the upper arm right here. We've got a second point of rotation down here. I love it when kits have this. And if that isn't good enough, we've got a 2-point bend at the elbow. The first is your traditional bend right here, and the second is inside of that, which gives you that little bit more. If you take a look up in there, you can kind of get a better idea of what is going on. So I'm going to bend that to full extension and then bring this lower joint all the way forward. So that is unique. The wrist right here is your standard ball joint, so it does what a ball joint do. We have some more interesting articulation at the waist, so we've got one bit of a crunch up top and a second one down below. Both of these don't necessarily work at the same time because of the armor there, but if you turn it, you might get a little bit more, but there's a lot put into this. If you bend this guy over, you can see we've got a fairly interesting joint inside of that. Next up then, we have rotation from there to there. If that pulls up, it can spin all the way around, but you need to push that back in again. Front skirting armor is on a ball joint, so it does what you would expect from that. So that is up, down, a little bit of wiggle side to side. Side skirts are on a joint that's not unlike what your standard polycap would do, but it's not a polycap, so that is up, down, forward, back. The butt flap back here is your old school paralyzed butt flap, so that doesn't do anything. On popping off the leg, you can see we do have a bit of a mechanism in here at the hip, which allows it to pull up and back, slide forward like so. When the leg is attached, that's exactly what that up there does. Checking out the kicks now, there is the full kick all the way up to the front, so that is nice, a little above, parallel to the ground. There it is out to the back, so a little blocked by that paralyzed butt flap. And do we get the splits in here? It looks like we most certainly do. Pretty awesome. Up here now, we've got that full spin kick at the upper leg, double jointed bend at the knee there and there, so that isn't too bad for such a bulky leg. Nice. As much as I hate these rubber pipes, there isn't really much else you could do to work this well when it comes to poses. Around on the back of the leg here, we've got one very nice flappy. Look at that. That's cool. There's quite a lot going on at the ankle here. We've got forward and back like that. We've got up and down, which is a bit stiffer than the one that gave us forward and back, so a lot of the time it tends to want to kind of go forward and back, but there it is up, there it is down. We also have a pivot inside of this, which is very nice as well, and a very nice bend at the toe. Let's check out that functional movement. So this, of course, is to test what the leg can do without lifting the foot off the ground. There it is all the way to the front end. That is impressive. Nice. Next out to the back, we're going to flip out this little armor section, and we get that right there. Again, very nice, especially the way this comes flush with the back of the foot. That is cool. And lastly then, there it is, side to side. So that is very nice for something with this amount of armor around here that doesn't separate. Nice engineering here. On the whole, the articulation here is impressive. I could have asked for a little bit more at the waist and the ankles, but at the same time, this is phenomenal nonetheless. All in all, I am impressed. Anyway, that right there is it for the review of the Reborn 100 Zaku II Kai, which, I'm gonna say it right off the bat, is Gundam tier. And you might be like, wait, what, hey, how, what? It does seem a little bit on the crazy side, but the basis of my tiering system is based on previous kits. Previous kits from the same grade. Once again, silver tier is exactly what I would expect from a grade, gold tier is going above and beyond that grade, and Gundam tier is breaking away from the grade, so it no longer feels like that grade whatsoever. And that is exactly what this kit has done, by taking away the polycaps, which to me were the bane of Reborn 100's existence. The same polycaps on every kit, regardless of the size, design, etc., was an asinine idea. But instead of making new polycaps for each kit, they just went and scrapped them, and I am beyond impressed by this. It's solid, it's awesome, the colors are fantastic. If you ignore the fact that the price is a little bit on the high side for something that isn't a master grade, and the fact that Reborn 100 was meant to be huge kits, if you ignore those aspects, this is fantastic. For what it is, for what I've seen from Reborn 100 before, if this is the way the line is going, I am incredibly excited. If you compare this to the Master Grade Zaku 2, the Master Grade of course is a more detailed kit, but you have to ask yourself, what are you looking for from a gunpla? For me, I love this because it's simple, posable, fun to play around with. For example, if you're going to take pictures of it, you could throw it in a backpack, bring it with you, take some photos somewhere cool, and you won't have to worry about it falling apart, losing parts, etc., like you would with more difficult or intricate kits like a Master Grade. So it fits in with Master Grades very nicely, it's durable, it's solid, and all in all, it just looks awesome. It is awesome, and I highly recommend it. Anyway, if you do want one of your own, there is a link down there in the description. You can get yours at Hobby Link Japan, or go there for any of your gunpla needs. I'll also mention that this is the last review I will be doing before my best kit of 2019, or should I say top 10 kits of 2019, because this is one I wanted to do before doing that list, because I knew it may, and for definite will now definitely be included in that list. But anyway, as always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to come back for more gunpla reviews, and I will see you next time. Once again, all my thanks to each and every one of you guys. If it wasn't for you guys, this channel would not exist. So that's to everyone who watches these videos, hits that like button, and of course to those of you who support me on the channel memberships and Patreon, including Craig Jury, Mark Wu, Kaiser721, Forged Horizons, Bolwick, Tyler Sanders, Caleb Engelhart, Halo Creator, and Hank Handsome.